Howdy! Ever heard college students talk about their school life? Sometimes it seems like they're speaking an entirely different language. To help keep you from embarrassing yourself on our visit, we thought we'd introduce you to a few terms before we head to campus. Admission deadline. You have to get your application in by a certain date to attend a university for a fall semester. These dates vary greatly, so double-check months ahead of time. Your application is usually only one piece of the admissions process. You'll need your ACT or SAT scores sent from the school. Remember, if you don't have high enough math or English scores on the ACT or SAT, you may be required to take remedial level classes, which don't give you any credit and which you have to pay for. If you thought 9th grade math was bad, try paying hundreds of dollars for the privilege of taking it again in college. You'll also need an official transcript to send in with your application. Notice that the application may also ask you about things like whether or not you've had any volunteer experience or disciplinary action, such as suspension, since the 9th grade. The things you're doing now can affect your future. An official transcript is usually in a sealed envelope with an official seal or watermark. You can't just print it off skyward. Usually you have to write an essay and send in a non-refundable application fee. In 2014, the application fee for UVU is $35. Once you are accepted into the university, you do not have to apply every semester. Getting into the university doesn't automatically get you into the department, sometimes known as college, that you want for your major. This is especially true of competitive arts-based departments such as music, graphic design, or interior decorating. There are two main types of universities. There are private universities and public universities. Private schools generally charge higher tuition because public colleges are funded in part by the state and federal governments. What's tuition, you say? It's the money you pay to be able to take classes. Generally, there are three kinds of tuition rates. There is one rate, in-state tuition, if you attend a college in Utah. Out-of-state tuition at UVU is more than 3 times as expensive. Graduate-level tuition, when you're working on a master's degree, is generally more expensive than in-state, but not as expensive as out-of-state tuition. How will they know if I'm in-state or not? To get in-state tuition, you have to prove your residency, or the fact that you're a resident of the state of Utah. Generally, a college requires proof that you've lived in the state for 1 or 2 years before you will qualify for in-state tuition. Graduating from high school in the same state is usually enough. Otherwise, you have to provide a Utah driver's license, copies of your parents' tax forms, a letter from an employer, vehicle, or voter registration. So you're saying I basically have to go to school in Utah or pay an enormous amount of money for tuition? Well, there are a couple of other options. You can try and get a scholarship. Scholarships are money based on academic performance or other merits, such as the Utah Regents Scholarship. You can lose a scholarship if your academic performance falls below their requirements. A grant, which is a one-time lump sum of money, is usually based on income levels and need. We've all heard about student loans. What's the difference between a loan and a grant? Well, a student loan you have to pay back with interest. To qualify for many financial aid products, you'll have to fill out what's known as a FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. The FAFSA has their own deadlines and applications. There's also a program called the Western Undergraduate Exchange. You can apply for this program, and if you get in, you can then apply to have an out-of-state tuition rate that is only 150% of the regular in-state rate. Some of the colleges are located in Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, North Dakota, Oregon, South Dakota, Utah, Washington, Wyoming, and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. At UVU, if you're a full-time student, which means taking between 12 and 18 credits, there's one tuition rate. Currently, in 2014, it is $2,271 per semester. If you are only taking a few classes, tuition is charged by the number of credits that you take. A 1-credit class, which means that it meets once a week for an hour, is $346. A 2-credit class, meeting twice a week, is $521 for a semester. The more credits you take, the more affordable the price for each credit is. What year you are in school depends on how many credits you've received, not
Created using Powtoon.